Tomorrow is the start of a crucial week. Tomorrow is the start of one of the most important transfer weeks in this summer window because it's going to be the last week of holidays before the players are back training, preparing for the summer preseason, and most importantly, preparing for the season. This is the last week of non-action for the players. This is the last week of non-action for Jose, who will slowly prepare his comeback at Trigoria. This is the last week where the players get a breather, because then serious mode on, and that's how we tackle and we prepare the season. And why is this linked with a crucial transfer week? Because I'm expecting a player this week. Now, I don't normally say this, but I am expecting a signing this week, because if Mourinho has Aouar and Dika, maybe Llorente and Christensen, plus another player, by the start of the preseason, that is massive. That is absolutely massive. So I am expecting a transfer this week. I'm expecting a signing this week. If I had to guess the signing this week, it would be impossible. It could be Scamacca, it could be by some miracles, by some chances, Frattesi, could be Kamada. Today we're going to speak about him. And yeah, it's a crucial week. It's also a crucial week because on Wednesday the fixtures come out. So very curious for that. I'm obviously going to go live for that at 12 p.m. Italian time, 11 a.m. UK time. Sorry, 12 a.m. Italian time and 11 a.m. UK time. So I'm going to go live for that. It's going to be very interesting to see who we get first. I'm always very excited when the fixtures come out, because you kind of prepare your calendar. You look at when you face each other. You look at when the derby is. So this Wednesday the fixtures are going to come out, and this Thursday the kit is also set to be released. It's going to be an insane kit. So very busy week this week, very crucial week, also on the Scamacca and Frattesi front. We're going to discuss that in a second. I'm going to start today by speaking about Daichi Kamada, Eintracht Frankfurt. In fact, I should say old Eintracht Frankfurt player. He's a free agent. He was very close to becoming a new Milan player because he was a player which Maldini wanted a lot. Then Maldini collapsed with the ownership. Maldini left. And yeah, this kind of crumbled apart. Milan's deal with Kamada kind of collapsed. It's not officially over, but some very important sources are saying that it is basically over. It's basically done. So Roma want to hijack this. I mean, is it a hijack? He was close to becoming a Milan player, but he's not close right now. So Roma could hijack this. This is a player which Mourinho likes a lot. And we could hijack this. Now, Nicolas Schira, very underrated journalist, who works around the Serie A environment, has said that Thiago Pinto has studied the Kamada move and has prepared a few calls with his agents in these past days. There's nothing more than that. This is just an idea which could become into a very solid idea. It could become into a real transfer hit. But as things stand, it's just an idea, maybe a bit more than an idea, because Thiago Pinto has prepared his contacts with his agents. Obviously, he would be a free agent, so that would mean satisfaction, because we love free agents. And yeah, look, he's a holding midfielder. He's played as an attacking mid. He's a holding mid. He can be a box-to-box mid. This player can also play as a false nine. So very versatile player. Has got some not incredible, but good stats with Eintracht Frankfurt. Played the Champions League this year with Eintracht Frankfurt. He's got that European experience. He's a holding mid who's very good when it comes to holding the ball and all of that. And frankly speaking, that's what we need. We don't need another defensive midfielder because we've got plenty of defensive mid. We've got Cristante, we've got Matic. So frankly speaking, we don't need another defensive mid. We need a holding / box-to-box mid. And that's exactly why we are desperately interested into Frattesi, and that's why the priority does remain Frattesi. And I'm not excluding anything. Look, if somebody would have told me 2 weeks ago that Frattesi still hadn't signed for a team, I wouldn't have believed it. You know, I thought he was very close in becoming a new Inter player. Now, I know that a dog is having a stroke in front of my window. Is he either being devoured by seagulls or he's having an absolute stroke? Because I've never heard a dog bark like that. Anyways, I would have never thought Fratesi hadn't signed for a team, because it is true that Inter have unlocked the Brozovic deal, but Inter's priority is Lukaku, and Marotta has said this. Marotta has said the Brozovic money isn't directly linked to Fratesi because we want Lukaku as a priority. Time is ticking. Time is ticking, and Fratesi, the 2nd of July, is still a Sassuolo player, something which he doesn't want to be. We, now, in July, have got more freedom in the window. I am very tempted to say, and I've said this yesterday, I think Fratesi has a big chance of joining. I can see this happen because it's linked with Volpato and Missori too. I believe that the two sides had contacts about Fratesi when they spoke about those two players. And I can see it happen, and I want it to happen. Fratesi is my number one priority without a doubt. I've said this yesterday with Renato Sanchez as well. I would love to get either Fratesi and Renato Sanchez, or either Fratesi and Kamada. But I would love that because the squad depth drastically gets improved there, and that's something which Mourinho would love. You know, if we can have a selection of 8 midfielders, that's exactly what Mourinho asked for throughout the entire season. But linking to what Loazi1 is saying in the chat, do we need 8 midfielders? Do we need Matic, Cristante, Bove, Pellegrini, potentially Fratesi, potentially Kamara, and that's 6-7 midfielders? Do we need 7 midfielders, or do we need to prioritize a striker? I'd argue we need to prioritize a striker, but if we have 7 midfielders, our manager is going to kiss Thiago Pinto's ass. He's going to be that happy that he really is going to kiss Thiago Pinto's ass. So, I would love both players. I'm also thinking about costs and all of that, because you have to think about costs. And that's kind of the way it is. For me, and for Mourinho, and for Pinto, and for the fans, Fratesi is the number one. I want Fratesi as the number one priority. But if Fratesi doesn't happen, I think Kamada is a very valid option, because his characteristics are exactly what we need. Another interesting thing about Kamada, sorry, not Kamara, did I say Kamara? Kamada. Daichi Kamada. Another interesting thing about that is that he's from Japan. Now, you probably go, well, what does that mean? That is very, very important on our growing the brand mission. That is massive. And I'll explain why. Now, a few days ago, I was in Mallorca, mocking my Lazio fan when reading at this thing, which I'm about to say. I was in a bar in Mallorca, very aesthetic bar. I had a Lazio fan sitting next to me. I opened my phone, and the ranking of most supported teams in the world came out. Man United first with 150 global fans, other well-known teams up front, and then Roma 14th place. Roma 14th most supported team in the world with 22 million global fans. And obviously, I was like, well, where's Lazio in this ranking? But you look at this and you're like, there has been an increase, because 3 years ago it wasn't like this. There has been a global expansion of this brand since the Fredkins came. And a lot of this expansion has moved into Asia. Now, it moved into Asia because the Fredkins are Toyota directors not in the United States, but obviously Toyota is it's an Asian brand, it's a Japanese brand. So that's exactly why their interest in expanding Roma as a brand, especially on those areas, is massive. That's exactly the reason why we went to Japan in our winter tour. That's exactly why we went there. And that is also exactly why we had to go to Singapore and Korea this summer to expand the brand. Then the Korea tour dropped because the payments didn't come in. We were still going to Singapore, and that is going to help expanding the brand. But when you get a player like him, I'm not saying he's the biggest Japanese player to have ever lived on the planet, but he's definitely top 10 Japanese players to have ever lived in that planet. That is obviously very attractive when one of the biggest goals of our ownership is making our brand a more global brand. So this is it's a player who's got great characteristics, but it's also a player which the ownership not just Mourinho would love. Because, I was surprised. We are the 14th most supported team in the world. I am surprised. We've got the same amounts of fans as Borussia Dortmund. Roughly the same amount. That's big. Roma till what? Until 50 years ago, maybe not even less, 30 years ago, was a local team. It was hard to find fans who supported this team outside of Rome, outside of Italy, let's say. It's becoming a more global brand, and it's great to see. It's great to see not only for us, it's great to see for me, who has a fan channel. It's big news. 22 million fans is a lot of fans. So that obviously does link with this move, in my opinion. But look, as Nicolo Schira reported, Tiago Pinto's grabbed his contacts. Tiago Pinto has contacted his agents to ask for some information, to ask how to tackle this deal, and to ask if the Milan deal is completely off and if Roma can enter the race. I think it's a valid option. I think a lot of it will depend on Frattesi, as it's their priority. But if Frattesi doesn't happen, I reckon Kamada has a big chance of signing for Roma. Let me know what you think in the chat about Kamada. If you like his skills, his characteristics, if you think he's a player we need. Who would you rather have? Would you rather have him, Renato Sanchez? Is Frattesi your priority? Feel free to make yourself alive in the chat. Roma said that you're prioritizing midfielder for their transfer budget. I think this is a sign that will meet Sassuolo's price tag for Frattesi. I agree. I think we have a chance. I genuinely think we have a chance. And I would explode if we get Frattesi. He's just the player we need in terms of how he plays and in terms of how much he cares about us. I think just one more midfielder, Frattesi, Sanchez, or Kamada. If we get more than one, that gives us 7, and that leaves Bove as the odd man out. I agree. We would have a saturated midfield area, but at the same time, I would love it. Because I'll be honest with you, if we have a selection of 8 midfielders next season, we can get top 4 and try to win Europa League at the same time. We can do it. The reason why this season we've done really well in the Europa League, but we haven't done so well in the Serie A is because of squad depth. Let's all be honest. It's because at a certain stage in the season, due to our injury crisis as well, we were literally in a situation where our reserves were Faticanti, Missori and Pisilli. This time round, if we have such a selection and somebody gets injured, let's say Frattesi, if he gets injured, right, I've got Bove. If Bove is tired and Pellegrini is injured, I've got Kamada. So squad depth when you're playing so many tournaments is vital. And look, I will tell you another thing. This year, Coppa Italia has to be a big series shut up. It has to be a big priority. It has to be a big priority, not because we want to win it, because it's a trophy which everybody wants to win, even if it's not a massive trophy, but also because we've got a very high chance of facing Lazio in the quarterfinals of the derby. And getting thrown out would mean effectively losing a derby. And that is something which can't happen. So we have to go far in Coppa Italia as well, because we cannot even think of getting thrown out by Lazio at the Olimpico. Because then, look, they're already celebrating the last time they won Coppa Italia 10 years ago. Imagine they throw us out in one game in the Coppa Italia. That's something which Lazio fans which are going to be born in 30 years are going to be told about. So we genuinely can't get thrown out by Lazio. Look, I would rather get thrown out in the first round than losing a derby in the Coppa Italia. I'd rather get thrown out by Cremonese again than losing a derby in the quarterfinals. I've had enough of losing derbies, and we're going to lose more derbies, of course we will, but losing 2 derbies in one season is painful, especially when you were there in the away section. It wasn't as bad as losing penalties in Europa League, but it was up there. So, no losing derbies this season, especially in a single game, which could mean reaching the semi-finals. Because again, the quarterfinals in the Coppa Italia haven't got first leg and second leg. It's a direct game. But yeah, look, we spoke about Kamada. Crucial week because Thiago Pinto is also going to meet with Scamacca. Not Scamacca, because Scamacca's an agreement with us, with West Ham, to try and unlock the deal, unlock the loan, and bring him. But as we just said, it's also going to be a crucial week for Frattesi. It's going to be a crucial week not just for Roma when it comes to Frattesi. It's going to be a crucial week for every team which is interested in Frattesi, because the Sassuolo general manager is going to meet with a lot of directors this week. Thiago Pinto, the Inter director, and the Milan director as well. To see... look, he said this. Right now, Roma have got the highest offer. If we can keep this rhythm, withstand the pressure, and maybe prepare a last-minute assault, we can secure Frattesi. And this week is the week to do it, because the more time flies, I have a little feeling the higher the price tag will be. So this is the week. This is the week to unlock a lot of deals. I'm expecting a signing this week, and yeah, it's going to be an interesting week. And yeah, also, interesting rumor on Shomurodov. Galatasaray are interested in Shomurodov. He's another player which we need to sell. He's not the last player which we need to sell in our to-do list. Vigna. We've got other players as well. Reynolds and all of these guys. But Shomurodov is definitely up there, seeing the amount of money we paid for him. 18 million to sign him. Galatasaray are interested in him. Galatasaray and Roma have got good relations due to the Zaniolo situation. And yeah, if we can get Shomurodov out, that leaves more space, that gives more money, and maybe we can accumulate that money to prepare a Frattesi assault, or maybe for Scamacca. I don't know. Look, right now it's hard to tell how we will use the money, because we definitely have the money. I mean, we're not the richest, but we've made money, so we have a fixed budget to spend and invest in this window. It's very curious to see how we split this budget up, because we're done with defenders. We don't need defenders anymore. Fullbacks, now that we have Christensen, almost have Christensen, I don't know if we're going to buy anyone else. I don't think we will, especially if nobody else leaves. Midfielders, we need a box-to-box holding mid. Up front, we need one striker / 2 strikers. So yeah. By the way, interesting, speaking about Zaniolo, because I'm always very intrigued about this. I'm so curious to see what Zaniolo does. I want Zaniolo to come back to Italy. Because I want Zaniolo to come back to the Olimpico and get booed. I want that to happen. I want to see that. I want Zaniolo to play against Roma fans and against his old teammates. I want to see Mancini against Zaniolo. I really want to see that. And look, I've always said this. It was so easy to understand. Galatasaray was a mid-stop. Was a layover to get back to Italy. He just had to go there so that he could get the attention of other clubs by scoring a few goals. Because it's ridiculous to be moving to the Turkish league at 23 years old. It is ridiculous. And he knows that himself. I've got nothing against the Turkish league. I love Turkey. It's a beautiful country. I want to visit soon. But you cannot move to the Turkish league at 23 years old. And Zaniolo knew that the second he signed for Galatasaray. It was a layover back to Italy. Fiorentina want him, Juventus want him, and Milan have always been interested in him. So I want to see it. I want to see it happen because obviously you want to see him play against us. But obviously also thinking positive, he's a player which will come handy in the future of the Italian national team. And if he plays in Italy, the chances of seeing him have a big part in the Italian league and the Italian national team are bigger than if he plays in the Turkish league. It's his birthday today, by the way. Happy birthday, mate. Sorry, not mate. Happy birthday, Nicolo Zaniolo. Yeah. But look, interesting news today. It's a big week, as we announced before. It's a big week when it comes to transfers. I'm expecting a signing. I've said this like 5 times. It's a big week because fixtures are coming out on Wednesday and kit is set to come out on Thursday. Very busy week. Looking forward to it. And yeah, look, I'm most probably going to do, just for this week, just to catch up from the last few days, I'm going to do 2 streams a day. Maybe, if I wake up in time, I'm going to do a morning stream and a usual stream. just for this week, the catch up, because I just think it's such a crucial week. It needs a lot of coverage. So yeah, Kamada's an option. Big week for Scamacca and Frattesi, and big week for the future of this club, because we will know our fixtures and our kit. Right, let's read some comments and then I will end the stream. Greenwood contact true. No, Roma denied it. And again, I wanted to talk about Greenwood today because I think it pulls out a massive debate, but I don't think it's going to happen. If it does happen, I'm going to promise you a great Greenwood stream to chat about it, because it's one of the heatest topics in football right now. I'd rather have a Kamada than Frattesi because we need an AM for Dybala when he's hurt, although Frattesi is definitely better. I think Frattesi's got more potentials. It could be argued Kamada's better than him, but obviously Frattesi knows the Italian league well. He knows the Roma environment really well, and he obviously is younger and has got more potentials. Frattesi and Kamada would be great. Sanchez's salary is too high if PSG don't want to cover some of it. Yeah, I agree. I'd rather Kamada than Sanchez because of fitness. And because, I've said this yesterday, when you have negotiations with PSG, there's always a big question mark. So I would rather have Kamada than Renato Sanchez. I agree on that. Can't believe Lazio made a special kit for the Coppa Italia win 10 years ago. I can't believe Lazio actually brought the trophy after 10 years in front of the Curva Nord in the last game of the season. Like, I've never seen a more delusional fan base. I have never seen it. That was 10 years ago. Now, again, I'm pretty sure I've said this already. When they won that trophy, I was 7 years old. 7 years old, and 10 years later, they brought the same trophy in front of their fans to celebrate it. They just live in the past. They just live in the past. They are part of history textbooks. Lazio fans don't read normal books. Lazio fans read history textbooks to prepare their mind, just flashing back every time. And look, I won't be surprised if 10 years from now, they will have a party after we lost the Europa League final on penalties against Seville. I will not be surprised if in 10 years they'll have a party about that. I won't be. I won't be surprised. I reckon we keep Reynolds. Nah, we don't need him. Is Frattesi an option anymore? I mean, it's one of those deals which didn't grow. So I'm not sure if we're preparing a secret move on it, but it's not growing. Mancini versus Zaniolo would be epic. Greenwood is a baseless rumor. Yeah, I think. Again, I'm not gonna share my opinion on it now because 90% it's not gonna happen. I will only share my opinion if it happens, and it's a complicated opinion to make. It's a complicated opinion to make because at 17 years of age, you can easily misuse words, and in such a serious matter as Greenwood, I could end up getting a lot of hate. So it's one of those streams which, if it does happen, if Greenwood signs for Roma, I'm gonna study what I'm gonna say. I'm definitely never gonna start a Greenwood stream speaking out of the blue, because I will 100% misuse some words, and it will offend a lot of people, and it will get me a lot of hate. So, but yeah, if we get him, I am obviously going to share my opinion. Will we sell Spinazzola, or will he renew? And should we start to incorporate Zalewski as the starting left fullback? I think Zalewski has to move away from the defensive positions, mate. I think Zalewski has to be put back in the attack. He's good at it. And it's the same discussion as Florenzi. Florenzi as a winger was an insane player, got moved to fullback, terrible player. Zalewski the same. I'm not saying he's terrible, but he's not good when he plays in defence. And if we have him up front as a winger, you know how better that would be? Spinazzola, I don't know. I don't know about Spinazzola. I don't know about it, but things are gonna come out. It makes sense for a club whose top ambition is to win a derby. Absolutely. But no more winning derbies this season, because we gotta get that supremacy back on them, which it always is. Because again, I was having a little heated comment with a fan last week who said, when we spoke about Zaha, somebody said, you can't say those things about Lazio because Lazio are playing in the Champions League this season and you're not, and Lazio became before you in the league. Well, what happened to all the other years? Won more derbies, won more trophies. I've got more money in the bank. We've got more fans in Rome. We've got more fans globally. I mean, it really is a waste of time to chat with these Lazio fans. But yeah, gonna catch you tomorrow with a morning stream and an afternoon stream, as I said before this week. It's been interesting today. It's been a fun one. Glad you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed it. And I'll catch you soon. See you out.